We were supposed to leave Monday morning, Maldives, overwater villa, private jet. It was already paid in full, but on Saturday night, she walked into the living room in a silk robe, hair pinned back like she was going to a gala, not delivering a death sentence. "Caleb," she said, not even looking me in the eye, "I can't make the trip. Something's come up." I remember blinking. I thought she meant a meeting. I thought she meant work. Then she added, "Noah needs me. His mother passed. I have to be there for him." Noah, her ex. My blood ran cold. "You're canceling our honeymoon trip. Because of him?" She tilted her head slightly, as if confused why I'd even ask. "We've known each other for 20 years. You've known me for 6. Don't make this about jealousy." I laughed, not because it was funny. Because if I didn't laugh, I'd throw the crystal decanter at the wall. She didn't even flinch. "Don't be childish. I already moved my meetings. You can go alone, or stay, your call." Then she left the room. Just like that. The silence afterward was louder than her voice. I stood there in our penthouse, holding the 2 passports, and realized she had no intention of ever going. This wasn't sudden. This was premeditated. I didn't unpack. I boarded that jet myself. The crew tried to smile like nothing was wrong. But when you're alone on a jet meant for 2, every empty seat mocks you. I spent hours staring at her untouched champagne flute, thinking about how cold she sounded when she said, "Noah needs me." By the time I arrived, my anger had calcified into something harder, something sharper. The villa was stunning, turquoise water, coral gardens, soft white sand, but all I could see was the space where she was supposed to be. I sat down at the edge of the pool and sent her a single message. "I'm here." She didn't reply. Not that day, not the next. She hadn't even bothered to ask if I landed safe. And then, on the 3rd morning, something strange happened. A couple recognized me at the resort. They were investors. One of them, Vincent, shook my hand too tightly and asked, "Where's the wife? Didn't she just get featured in Forbes with Noah?" I froze. "Forbes," I repeated. He chuckled. "You didn't see? Noah's new initiative, big feature. She's right there, front page. Power duo to watch. Congrats, by the way." I nodded slowly. "Thanks." Inside, I was burning. It wasn't just her ditching me. It was the fact that she used the excuse of a death to cover up a PR stunt with her ex. That night, I nearly booked a return ticket. But then I saw the resort had one last yacht excursion. Invitation only. My name was on the list. Hers wasn't. It hit me. She thought I'd stay home and sulk, or worse, wait. But I wasn't coming back. The next morning, as I stood barefoot on the deck, letting the wind carve into me like ice, I thought about her favorite excuse. Duty. She always said she had a responsibility to her past. Well, what about her responsibility to me? Later that evening, the waves turned choppy. A storm was coming. The captain warned us we'd have to return early. Everyone filed inside except one other guest. A woman in a navy dress, soaked and shivering on the top deck. I didn't speak, just offered her my jacket. She didn't thank me, just wrapped herself in it and said, "You look like someone running from something." I sat down next to her. "No, I'm just done chasing." It was the first time in days I felt warmth, and it wasn't from the jacket. She turned toward me, eyes meeting mine in the dark. "Good, because I don't trust people who run back." My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from my wife. "Where are you?" I stared at the screen. Let it buzz again. Then I locked it, tossed it on the table, and stayed outside in the rain. I didn't reply to her message. Not that night. Not the next morning. My silence was deliberate. The woman from the yacht, her name was Olivia, found me again at breakfast. She was in a white dress this time, barefoot, wind-tossed hair and eyes that saw through the pageantry. "Your phone's still buzzing," she said, sipping something bright and bitter. "I know." She leaned across the table. "Is it the woman who should be here?" I didn't answer. She nodded anyway. "People always think the real pain is being abandoned. It's not. It's realizing they planned it." That sentence stuck with me long after she left. Later that day, I got a call. Not from her, but from my assistant, Trevor. His voice was tight. "Boss, you need to see something. It's online." He sent me the link. There she was. My wife, stunning in an ivory pantsuit, standing beside Noah with their hands clasped over a ceremonial contract. Asterisk the new Phoenix Initiative, redefining luxury sustainability. The press release date? March 11th. The exact day we were supposed to board the plane. Trevor kept talking, but I couldn't hear a word. My ears were roaring. She had lied so easily, so perfectly. I closed the laptop and poured a glass of something sharp. I stood at the edge of the infinity pool and dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. "I asked where you are," she said, voice clipped, professional, no trace of concern. "I saw the article." Silence. Then, "That wasn't supposed to go live until next week." So it was premeditated. She exhaled. "It's business, Caleb. This isn't personal. You used me, lied, canceled our trip for a PR launch with your ex. And now you want to act like you're still entitled to my silence?" She didn't even deny it. "If you care about your shares, you'll get back here before the board meets next Friday. You know how unstable optics can tank confidence." That's when I said it, quietly, measured. "I'm not coming back." There was a pause, a sharp inhale. "What?" "You heard me. You're being emotional. I'm being done. She hung up. That evening, Olivia knocked on the door of my villa. She didn't wait for an invitation, just walked in. "You look like someone who finally burned the bridge." I was sitting on the floor, back against the wall, tie undone. It wasn't a bridge, it was a trap. She didn't say anything, just came over, sat beside me, and pulled the tie from my collar. "You ever think," she whispered, "that some people only love you when you're useful?" I looked at her. That's exactly it. I was a name, a title, a seat at her table. Olivia touched my hand, not seductively, just firmly. "You still have a name, you still have a seat, just maybe at a different table now." For a moment it felt like breathing underwater, foreign, heavy, but necessary. And then my phone buzzed again. It was a different number. "Trevor," I answered. "Boss, your wife just froze the joint account. Legal says it's a preemptive split filing. She's moved fast." My throat tightened. "She's trying to force you home." I stood slowly, eyes on the horizon. Then I hope she knows how it feels to be left waiting. But as the call ended, a new notification popped up. An alert. The family trust. A motion had been filed. I wasn't just being iced out of my marriage. She was coming for my legacy. By sunrise, my phone had 7 more missed calls. 3 from Trevor, 4 from board members. I ignored all of them. Instead, I sat across from Olivia at the Marina Cafe. She watched the waves crash against the dock, her fingers wrapped around a cup she wasn't drinking from. "She's moving fast," Olivia said without prompting. "Too fast." I nodded. "Because she's scared. She thinks if I disappear, I become unpredictable. That's the one thing she's never been able to control." Olivia looked at me carefully. "What happens when someone like that can't control you anymore?" I looked out at the sea. "They destroy what they built with you, just to prove it was never yours." She didn't respond, but her hand moved subtly across the table, covering mine for a second. She didn't hold it, just anchored me there. I pulled away when Trevor finally texted something I couldn't ignore. "She's convening the family board. Wednesday. Remote votes allowed. They're questioning your mental state after the no-show." Of course they were. My wife had spent years building a narrative where she was the composed one, the heir with grace. I was the muscle, the golden name with a temper. Now she was flipping the script, painting me as unstable. I paced the dock while Trevor gave me the details. She was citing erratic withdrawal behavior, emotional absences, and the fact that I was unreachable as proof I was unfit to manage my voting rights. "She's trying to get you sidelined," he said. "Permanently. You lose that vote, you lose your position, you lose the company." I hung up without replying. That evening, Olivia found me again. This time near the edge of the reef. She didn't speak, just slipped off her shoes, walked into the water until it reached her knees and said, "Ever think about swimming until you forget?" Every day this week, she turned around, water glittering around her like shattered glass. Then stop waiting for permission. Fight back. It hit me then. She wasn't just a guest. She knew people like my wife. Maybe Asterisk was Asterisk someone like her once. I stepped into the water after her, my clothes clinging cold and tight. What if I don't want to go back to who I was? She looked at me. Then don't. Be the version of you she never prepared for. That night I opened my laptop and recorded a video message. Not for her, for the board. I spoke plainly. About betrayal, about strategic sabotage, about the irony of being accused of emotional instability while she orchestrated a hostile maneuver with her ex. Then I dropped the final piece. Screenshots of the predated PR release, proving she planned the launch before our trip was even canceled. I hit send and slept for the first time in days. At dawn, Trevor called. They're shaken. 3 of the outer circle flipped their votes after your video. She's fuming. But I barely heard him, because I walked out to my veranda and saw Olivia standing barefoot again. Only this time she was holding an envelope. I wasn't honest with you, she said quietly. I took it, opened it. Inside, a press badge. Asterisk freelance, investigative, Southeast Asia Bureau. You're not just here for vacation, I said. She looked down. I came here to cover Noah's project. I didn't expect to find you. I didn't expect to care. I stepped closer. She didn't move. And just like that, we stood there. 2 people stitched together by someone else's lies, touching only by accident, but breathing the same broken air. Before either of us could speak again, her phone buzzed. She checked it. Her face went white. She looked up. You need to see this. Now. She handed me the phone. The screen showed a grainy still frame from a news broadcast. At first I didn't understand what I was seeing, just a blurred image of a woman stepping out of a luxury car in front of the family headquarters. But then I recognized the dress and the ring. It was my wife. The headline below read, Phoenix Initiative founder confronted by shareholders' allegations amid board tensions. She was speaking to reporters. I tapped the volume. My husband is struggling. I wish I didn't have to say this publicly, but he's refused treatment before. I begged him not to leave alone. I'm worried about his safety. I nearly crushed the phone in my hand. She's staging a breakdown for me, I muttered. She's going to claim I'm unfit. Olivia was already 1 step ahead. She's laying the foundation. Emotional instability, abandonment, financial risk. You've seen this playbook before. The betrayal hit harder than before. Not just because she lied, but because she weaponized the truth. I asterisk had asterisk disappeared. I asterisk hadn't T asterisk answered the board. And now she was using that vacuum to fill in her own version of me. I left Olivia without a word. Storm clouds gathered above the island. Wind lashed the palms, but I didn't feel it. I walked barefoot across the resort until I reached the business center. Inside, I pulled up the live feed from the headquarters. She was still speaking. I hope he comes home. I still love him, but I can't let him destroy everything we've built. Everything asterisk we've asterisk built. She didn't mean love. She meant stock, and it was working. Reporters nodded sympathetically. Her voice cracked at the right moments. I slammed the laptop shut. That evening, Olivia met me in my villa. She didn't knock. She just came in and stood quietly while I sat in the dark. I've seen powerful people lie before, she said, but I've never seen someone do it with your wedding ring still on. I looked up. You think I should go back? She shook her head. I think you should show them who's stronger. She sat beside me on the sofa, not close enough to touch, but enough that I felt her presence settle into my ribs. For a long time, we said nothing, just breathed, just existed. Then she said softly, what would hurt her more, your silence or your survival? That night, I made a decision. The next morning, I flew to Singapore. Trevor arranged everything, discreetly, a private office, a legal team, and a publicist I never thought I'd use. My statement went live at noon. The rumors of my breakdown are untrue. I took time to reflect. My wife and I are not aligned either in business or values. I have filed for separation of assets, effective immediately. It went viral within hours. She called. I didn't answer. She texted, "How dare you humiliate me like this? You've just declared war." I replied only once. "You started it. I just stopped pretending." But the high didn't last, because that night as I returned to the hotel, someone was waiting for me in the lobby. A courier. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a flash drive. No note, no sender. I went up to my room, plugged it in, plugged. It was security footage from our home. A date, March 11th, the day I left. It showed her and Noah in our living room, kissing. I watched the footage on loop. She wore the same dress she wore when she told me Noah's mother had died. Her voice in the clip was low, casual. She wasn't grieving. She was whispering something that made him smile. Then she leaned in and kissed him, like it was nothing, like we didn't matter. I hadn't even left for the airport yet when that happened. My chest was hollow, rage and numbness fighting for territory. There was a timestamp, a camera angle. This wasn't hearsay, it was evidence. The next morning, I had my legal team prepare an addendum, a document citing infidelity and deception, complete with still frames from the video. It would be forwarded to the board in 48 hours, unless she backed off. Trevor warned me. "This will scorch the ground. No coming back after this." There's nothing left to come back to. But I wasn't ready for what came next. That evening, Olivia came to my room again. No press badge this time, no phone, just her. "You look like hell," she said quietly. I looked away. I just sent a nuke to the person I once thought I'd die beside. She sat down, closer this time. "Do you feel better?" "No." We sat in silence. Then she took my hand, slowly, deliberately. "You don't have to be okay, but you do have to let someone stand next to you." I turned toward her, our foreheads nearly touching. "You sure you're not just here for the story?" She didn't flinch. "You're not the headline I came for, but you're the one I stayed for." Her honesty disarmed me more than any lie ever could. Before I could respond, my phone rang. Trevor again. "Don't panic," he said quickly, "but someone's leaked the footage. It's online." My stomach dropped. "What? I never sent it." "I know, which means someone else had access." My mind raced. "Who?" Olivia was still beside me, watching my face. "What happened?" I told her. Her expression changed. "Who else has access to your home system?" "Only one other person, our estate manager, Maria." But Maria was loyal. She'd been with my family since I was a child. Unless... My phone buzzed again. A new alert. Asterisk breaking. Anonymous footage suggests romantic involvement between Phoenix Initiative founders. Conflict of interest alleged. They were calling it an ethical violation. Stock projections were plummeting. The board was being flooded with calls. I was being flooded with a new reality. I hadn't leaked the video. But someone had, and they'd done it at the perfect time to wound her. Too perfect. That's when it hit me. I turned to Olivia. "You said you came to cover Noah's project. Did you already know about the affair?" She went still. "I had suspicions," she admitted, "but I didn't have proof. Not until you got that footage." I stepped back. "Did you leak it?" Her voice cracked. "Caleb, The room felt like it tilted. I opened the door. "I need to know if I'm just another quote in your exposé." She didn't leave right away, just stared at me, eyes wet, mouth trembling. And then she stepped out. I closed the door, alone again, but not unsure. Because as I stared at my phone, a new message came in. This one wasn't from Trevor or Olivia. It was from Maria. Asterisk. I didn't send that video, but I know who did. I met Maria at a hotel cafe just outside the resort district. She looked the same as ever. Neat bun, pressed blazer, calm eyes that had watched me grow up. But this time there was something different in her gaze. "I didn't betray you, Caleb," she said first. "But someone inside the house did." I leaned forward. "Who?" She slid a flash drive across the table. "This came through the internal surveillance audit system 2 days ago. One of the junior techs, Danny, flagged suspicious logins from your wife's tablet. But the IP wasn't hers. It bounced from Jakarta." "Jakarta?" I frowned. "Why would—" Maria didn't blink. "Because that's where the Phoenix Initiative's off-site servers are hosted, and Noah has access to them." My blood went cold. You're saying he leaked the footage? Maria nodded. It looks like he staged the leak to make it look like your move, then stepped back to let the media eat your wife alive. I leaned back, stunned. Why would he destroy his own co-founder? Maria answered that without prompting. Maybe she was never his co-founder. Maybe she was just a tool, and maybe she's no longer useful. Suddenly, everything made sense. The timing, the footage, the perfectly orchestrated media implosion. Noah wasn't just a threat to my marriage. He was gutting her from the inside. I thanked Maria and left, my mind spinning. Back in my suite, I locked the door. I didn't call Trevor, didn't answer Olivia's texts. I needed time to process, but the door knocked anyway. Olivia, I opened it halfway. She looked exhausted. Please, she said, just let me explain. I hesitated, then stepped aside. She didn't speak at first. Just sat down on the edge of the bed, her hands in her lap like a schoolgirl waiting for judgment. I didn't leak the footage, she said, but I did know it would get out. I knew someone was digging for it. I should have told you. I stared at her. Why didn't you? She looked up, her voice cracking. Because I didn't want to lose what we had before it even started. The silence that followed was thick, heavy. Then I sat beside her, close enough to feel the warmth of her shoulder. You should have trusted me, I said. I know, she whispered, but I don't trust anyone. We didn't kiss, we didn't touch, but she leaned her head against mine, and for a few quiet seconds, we just breathed the same air again. That was the intimacy. Not desire, but stillness. Later that night, Trevor called. She's coming for you. I didn't need to ask who he meant. She's flying to Singapore. Live press conference scheduled. She's going to pin the leak on you, on Olivia, maybe even claim blackmail. I stood by the window, watching lightning fork through the night sky. She'll destroy anything that makes her look weak. Trevor paused. Then we need to beat her to it. How? He hesitated. There's someone else who might help, but it's risky. Your father's old lawyer. He's got dirt on everyone, including Noah. I nodded slowly. Reach out. But as I hung up, my phone buzzed again. A new number. The message was just one sentence. Asterisk. You think Olivia's the only one hiding something? I found the lawyer in a private club downtown. Quentin Price, 80 years old, 3 heart surgeries, and still wore a charcoal suit like it was armor. He didn't stand to greet me, just motioned to the chair across from him and poured 2 glasses of bourbon. I heard you finally stopped pretending, he said. I didn't come for approval. Good, I don't give it. He slid a folder across the table. This is about Noah. I opened it. Inside, flight logs, shell company filings, photos. One caught my eye, a picture of Noah with a man I recognized from the Phoenix Initiative's investors page. Who's this? Foreign capital, unregulated. He and Noah have been shifting the initiative's assets offshore. I stared at the file. And my wife? Quentin didn't blink. She's a useful face, pretty, connected, but not permanent. Once this IPO hits, she'll be redundant. My stomach churned. She doesn't know, does she? No, and she won't, until it's too late. I closed the folder. Then I need to warn her. Quentin raised an eyebrow. That wasn't the Caleb I expected to walk in here. I stood. I'm not doing this to save her. I'm doing this to make sure he doesn't win. When I got back to the hotel, Olivia was gone. Her phone was on the nightstand, still unlocked. There was a draft message on the screen. Asterisk. You deserve to know what I was really chasing when I came here. I didn't read the rest. I left it there and walked out. But I didn't get far. In the hallway, I found her sitting on the floor, her back against the wall, knees pulled to her chest. I was going to tell you, she said without looking up. I was supposed to write a takedown piece on Noah, but then I met you, and I started writing something else. Something truer. I crouched beside her. Then finish it, but make it count. She looked at me, eyes rimmed red. Do you still believe me? I don't know, but I don't want to be the version of myself who assumes the worst. She let out a shaky breath. Then I'll prove I'm not. We sat there, no apologies, just an understanding that everything from here would be real. or not at all. The next morning, I boarded a flight to Singapore. Her press conference was set for noon. I arrived at 11, slipped through the crowd, past cameras and flashes, and entered through a back hallway. She was there, alone, reviewing notes. Her back was straight, her face flawless. Still the image of control. Until she saw me. "Caleb," she said, not surprised, just weary. "I'm not here to fight." "Then why?" "To ask you a question, one time. No games." She folded her arms. "Ask. Did you know about Noah's offshore deals?" Something flickered in her eyes, a hesitation, microseconds long. "I don't know what you're talking about." I took out the folder and laid it on the table. She didn't open it. "I wanted to believe you were just cruel," I said, "but maybe you're also blind." She finally spoke. "I gave everything to this project, and I gave you more than you ever saw." I shook my head. "You gave me conditions, contracts, ultimatums. You gave him trust, because he was there before you, and he'll leave you after." Her lips parted, but before she could reply, a staffer rushed in. "Ma'am," he said, panic in his voice. "There's been a breach in the media system. Someone hijacked the feed." We both turned toward the monitor. It was already live. The footage playing wasn't of her, it was Noah. Leaked audio. Noah's voice, clear as a bell. "I'll ride her reputation until I don't need her. Then she'll be holding a brand no one trusts." Her face went pale. The staffer whispered, "Do we kill the stream?" She shook her head slowly. "No, let it play." The clip ran for exactly 90 seconds. In that short time, Noah dismantled everything she'd built. "After the IPO, we'll restructure. She'll step down voluntarily. I'll take over. The media will spin it. Burn out, vision shift, whatever. Then I'll rebrand without her face on anything." His voice was calm, cold. The room had gone silent. When it ended, cameras turned. Microphones surged forward. Reporters screamed questions over one another. "Is the Phoenix Initiative a fraud? Did you know you were being phased out? Were you complicit?" She didn't answer, just stood there staring at the blank screen as if it had personally betrayed her. I stepped back, watching from the wings. She looked small suddenly, not weak, just cornered, the way I had felt weeks ago. After the press cleared out and the broadcast cut, she found me again in the empty corridor. "You did this," she said. "No," I replied. "He did. I just let the truth through." Her jaw tensed. "You could have warned me." "I tried," I said. "You chose to believe the man who said he missed you." She didn't deny it, just turned her eyes to the ground. "I thought if I held it all together, I could keep him, keep everything." "You never had to keep anything," I said quietly. "You just had to choose who deserved your loyalty." For the first time, I saw her falter. Not as a manipulator, but as a woman who had gambled everything on the wrong bet and lost. She brushed past me without another word. But this wasn't over. Not yet. By the next morning, the Phoenix Initiative's board was in chaos. Noah had vanished, his office cleared, his numbers unreachable. The IPO was frozen. Investors were threatening legal action. And my wife, she hadn't made a statement. Olivia called. "They want your quote," she said. "Everyone does." "I'm not giving them one, not yet." There was a pause. "I finished the article," she said. "It doesn't make you a hero, but it does make you human." "Send it," I said, "but only after she makes her move." That night, she did. She walked into the office building she once ruled and demanded a closed board session. I wasn't invited, but I went anyway. Security hesitated, then stepped aside. When I entered, the room quieted. She stood at the head of the table, hair pulled back, no makeup, no facade. Just her. "This is not a plea," she said, eyes scanning the room. "This is an admission." The room held its breath. I allowed myself to become a liability, not because I was naive, but because I thought I could control betrayal. I can't. None of us can. But I can still choose how I exit. She looked at me then, the tiniest nod. "I'm stepping down. Effective immediately." No one spoke for a full 10 seconds. Then someone clapped. Then more, and just like that, she passed the empire she built. back into the hands of those who had doubted her, back into mine. But the cliff came after. That night, a final email landed in my inbox, from an anonymous sender. "She's out. Now Olivia's the next pawn. You really think she came to you by accident?" I stared at the email until my eyes blurred. Asterisk. You really think she came to you by accident? The words replayed over and over, louder than the silence in my hotel suite. I didn't sleep. By morning, I had a plan. I forwarded the message to Trevor and asked him to trace the source. He responded within the hour, encrypted, anonymous, rerouted through multiple offshore proxies, professionally done. "Could be Noah. Could be someone inside the initiative," he added. "Hell, could even be Olivia's editor." I closed the message and stepped outside. The city buzzed beneath me. Singapore at dawn, impossibly clean, impossibly fast. I didn't belong here, not anymore, but I couldn't leave yet. Olivia met me on the rooftop garden at the Marina Bay Tower. She wore a navy trench and no makeup, hair wind-blown and real. Her phone was off, her expression unreadable. "You saw the article?" she asked. I nodded. "It's good," I said. "Balanced." "It was hard not to make you the villain," she said with a half-smile. "You don't make it easy. I never asked to be the hero." We stood in silence for a while. Then I handed her my phone. She read the message. When she looked up, her face had gone pale. "You think I set you up?" "I don't know what to think anymore." She turned away, facing the skyline. "You think I wrote this for someone else? That all of this, us, was strategy?" "Was it?" "No," she said instantly, then slower. "Not at first, but then, maybe it became something more, and maybe I didn't know how to stop it." Her honesty cut deeper than denial. "I trusted you," I said. "I know." She turned back to me. "So what now?" I stepped closer. "If you're lying to me, I need to know now, before this becomes something I can't forgive." "I'm not." "Then prove it." She didn't blink. "How?" "Tell me who sent you, why you were really here." Her lips parted, but before she could answer, her phone buzzed. She hesitated. Then she showed it to me. A message. One line. Asterisk leave now. You're next. We both stared at it. Then she whispered, "I think I just became the story." We left the rooftop within minutes. Trevor had a car waiting. Back at the hotel, I went through her things, her laptop, her notebooks, her contact logs. She didn't fight me. Every contact, every editor, every email, nothing incriminating, except one, a deleted draft, buried in the backup folder, asterisk target, Caleb Marston, entry via proximity, evaluate vulnerability, secure narrative arc by March 11th. I looked up at her. She looked like someone who'd just realized the fire she started had burned her too. "I didn't write that," she said, but her hands were shaking. The final line of the draft, asterisk deliver findings to Phoenix Communications Group. And that name? I knew it. It was a shell company, owned by Noah. She stood in the middle of the room like she didn't know where to put her hands. "I swear to you, I didn't write that," Olivia said. "But it's in your backup, your files, your drive." "I know," she whispered. "But someone planted it, or I was used. I thought I was chasing Noah's corruption, not acting on it." I wanted to believe her, but the walls were closing in too fast to offer trust without proof. Trevor's call cut through the moment. "I traced Phoenix Communications," he said. "It's a front, owned by a network of shell corps. Noah sits at the top, but there's a PR firm beneath him. They pay journalists, they pay editors, they buy scandals." "So Olivia could have been just one of many," I muttered. Trevor paused. "There's more. That warning Olivia got? It came from an internal whistleblower. Someone in Noah's network flipped." "Why?" "Because you're not the real target anymore. She is." I looked at Olivia, pale, shaking, trying not to fall apart. "Can you protect her?" I asked. Trevor exhaled. "Only if she comes with you." So she did. We left Singapore that night. Private jet. No flight plan filed, no cell signals. Just the two of us in the sky, pretending for a few hours that we weren't being hunted by headlines and enemies we couldn't name. At cruising altitude, she turned to me. "I didn't come into your life with good intentions," she said. I came because I thought you were the crack in the armor. And now? She looked down. Now, I think you're the only honest thing I found in this whole story. We didn't touch, but she leaned against my shoulder. I let her. We landed in a private compound north of Dubai, a place my father bought years ago for untraceable meetings. I never thought I'd need it. Inside, Trevor was waiting. There's chatter, he said. Noah's going to surface again. He's lost the initiative, lost the IPO. He's desperate. Desperate men are dangerous. Trevor nodded. And he still has something left, a new project, something he's calling *the Reset. Another business? Not exactly. It's reputation laundering. He's building a narrative engine, PR, media, influencers, all designed to erase who he was and rewrite the story. And let me guess, I said. We're the first chapters he wants forgotten. Trevor pulled out a tablet, a live dashboard, media metrics, social trend curves. At the top was my name. Below it, Olivia's. The campaign had already started. False stories, edited quotes, out-of-context photos. They were rewriting us in real time. Olivia stared at the screen. He's going to make me the villain. I turned to her. Only if we let him. We fight back, she said. We don't just fight, I corrected. We finish it. The next day, I sent out a single message through a secure channel. It reached one person, Quentin Price, and the reply came back in less than an hour. I've waited 20 years to bury Noah. Let's make it permanent. Quentin's office hadn't changed in 2 decades. Leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, and the faint smell of old cigars and older secrets. He slid a dossier across the desk. This is how we kill the reset. I opened it. Inside, names, payment ledgers, email threads, burner accounts. It was everything we needed. He's using private think tanks to launder opinion, Quentin explained. Influencers to plant doubts. Rogue analysts to discredit his critics. Olivia leaned over my shoulder, reading. These people look legit. They are, Quentin said. That's the point. He doesn't need to fool everyone. Just sow enough doubt that no one believes anyone. And the endgame? I asked. Obscurity, he replied. No convictions, no court, just erasure. I stared at the final page. Noah's next scheduled appearance. A closed-door media summit in Monaco. 3 days from now. Trevor pulled up a map. We can intercept, but we need more than a confrontation. We need a stage. I looked at Olivia. You still want to go public? She hesitated. I don't know anymore. Then let me ask you differently, I said. Are you ready to stop running? She nodded. Once. We booked a panel under a false front. * media ethics in the age of narrative warfare *. Quentin would speak first. I would go second. Olivia would close it. By the time we landed in Monaco, the city buzzed with private security and fake smiles. Everyone was selling something. But Noah wasn't selling. He was erasing. He arrived on a yacht, flanked by advisors and flanked by press. No interviews, no reactions, just power. Until we walked on stage. Quentin opened with history, Noah's old shell companies, manipulated contracts, non-disclosure intimidation. Then I took the podium. I was told once that silence is the most strategic response. But silence let men like him build empires on other people's ruins. I showed the footage, the emails, the investor trail. Then I stepped back. And Olivia walked up. She looked directly into the crowd. Her voice didn't shake. I was sent to break a man, to turn him into a headline. But I stayed because I saw the damage done by the ones writing the scripts. She pulled out her press badge, snapped it in half. I resign, not from journalism, but from being their weapon. The room erupted. Cameras flashed. Hands shot up. Noah stood quietly at the back of the room, jaw locked. But he didn't leave, because he knew what came next. Trevor had uploaded the files. Every whistleblower testimony, every offshore transfer, every silenced critic. It hit the newswires within minutes. Quentin leaned over. It's done. But I knew better. Because that night, a note was left under my hotel door, handwritten. * erase me if you want. But what happens when you realize you still need me? There was no signature. But I knew the handwriting. My wife. The note sat on the table like it was breathing. Asterisk, erase me if you want. But what happens when you realize you still need me? She knew when to strike, not during the collapse, but after the silence that follows it. I turned the note over, nothing else. No room number, no instructions. Just that single question. Trevor called minutes later. She's in Monaco, he confirmed. Checked into the same hotel as Noah, 2 floors below you. I clenched the edge of the table. Alone? No. She brought legal counsel. And a bag. What kind of bag? Trevor hesitated. The kind people carry when they don't plan to come back. I hung up. Olivia watched me from across the suite. She's not here to apologize, is she? No, I said. She's here because the empire she sold me out for just crumbled, and she doesn't know how to survive without a throne. Olivia's voice dropped. Do you want to see her? I didn't answer. Instead, I left the room. I found her in the bar downstairs, alone, dressed in black, as if mourning something she hadn't yet lost. She didn't stand. I thought it would take longer, she said. To what? To realize he was never going to protect me. I sat, but barely. You don't get points for recognizing the fire you started. She stirred her drink with a gold-ringed finger. I'm not here for points. I'm here for survival. Then you're looking at the wrong man. Her eyes flicked to mine. No, I'm looking at the only man who understands what it costs to lose everything in front of cameras. I stayed silent. She leaned forward. You think Noah's done? He has offshore accounts, data vaults, loyalists. You started a war. Now you need someone who speaks the language of losing gracefully. I smiled, cold. You've never done anything gracefully. She looked away. I kept your name intact when you disappeared. Don't forget that. No, I said. You buried it. She finished her drink. I can help you clean what's coming, she said. But if you shut me out, I'll survive without you. And you might not. She stood. Think fast. You have 48 hours. Then she walked away like nothing had happened. Back in the suite, Olivia was packing. Don't, I said. She stopped. I saw the look in your eyes. You're thinking about letting her in. I'm thinking about what happens if I don't. Olivia nodded slowly. I meant what I said in Monaco, but I won't be the woman standing behind a man who still belongs to another. You think I still belong to her? I think you don't know who you are without her shadow. I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away, but she didn't hold on either. I need to know, I said. What matters more, us or this war? She looked up, eyes raw. Ask me again when she's gone. And then she walked out. No threats, no tears, just silence. 48 hours. The first 12 hours passed with no sleep. I sat in the suite, alone, watching the skyline bruise purple over Monaco. Every memory clawed back, her voice, Olivia's silence, the weight of everything I hadn't said. By the 20th hour, Trevor checked in. She's staying quiet, he said. No press, no calls. She's waiting for you to make the next move. And Noah? He's still in hiding, but something's up. A private server came online in Prague, encrypted, probably a dead drop for asset movements. Can you intercept it? We're trying, but if she has the access keys, this might be your only chance to shut it down. The room felt smaller. I knew what this was. Not a partnership. A deal with the devil who built me and tried to bury me. At hour 22, I knocked on her door. She didn't act surprised. Changed your mind? She asked. I haven't made it yet. She walked to the minibar, poured 2 glasses of whiskey. Then why are you here? Because if you're telling the truth, and Noah's still out there, then we don't have time for pride. She handed me a glass. I knew you'd remember how to be strategic. I didn't forget, I said. I just stopped wanting to be. We sat. No papers, no contract, just the drink. And the reality that for 48 hours, we were allies again. She laid out the files, old passcodes, names of silent investors, keys to Noah's digital fortress. He trusted me, she said, just like you did. And like you, he forgot I was always more dangerous when underestimated. I watched her. You were never the problem. No, she agreed. I was the weapon. As the sun dipped behind the coastline, I sent the files to Trevor. Within an hour, the Prague server collapsed. Noah's last digital stronghold, gone. And yet I didn't feel victory. I felt hollow. Because when I returned to the suite, Olivia's things were gone. No note, no goodbye, just absence. I tried to call. No answer. I tried again the next morning. Still nothing. By noon, a press alert hit my phone. Asterisk journalist Olivia Harper signs book deal, The Betrayal Engine set to publish this fall. I stared at the headline. My name wasn't in it, but I was between every line. That night, as I stood alone on the balcony, watching the city flicker, the door behind me opened. She stepped in. My wife. Not in power, not in apology, just present. "What now?" she asked softly, and I said the only thing I hadn't yet admitted out loud. "I don't know who I am if I'm not fighting you." The suite was too quiet now. No tapping keys from Olivia, no murmured calls to Trevor, no wine glasses clinking at midnight, just the hum of the minibar and the ghost of a war I might have won. She moved through the space like she'd never left it. My wife, still unreadable, still somehow too calm. "We dismantled everything Noah built," she said, not as a boast but a verdict. "Then why do I feel like the wreckage is mine?" She didn't answer. She sat instead, legs crossed, dress immaculate. She always looked best after battles. I always looked worst. "You still think I'm manipulating you," she said. "No," I replied. "I think you're just always 2 moves ahead." "That's not a crime." "No," I said, "but it makes love impossible." Her face didn't change, just her hands, tightening around the glass. "I never stopped respecting you," she said. "But you stopped seeing me," I countered. Silence again. Then she leaned forward. "Tell me the truth. Did you love her?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes." Her breath caught just once. "And now? I don't know. I haven't seen her since the summit. She vanished." "She published a book." "I know." "About you?" "No. About everything." She nodded slowly. "She left a message," my wife said. "For you." I froze. "She called me, asked if I'd give it to you. I didn't decide until now." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small white envelope. No name, just a wax seal. Inside, a folded page. Asterisk, "You saved yourself." That's all I ever wanted. I didn't disappear because I stopped caring. I disappeared because I cared too much to stay where I'd become the enemy. "Oh." I read it twice, then once more. "She's not coming back," I said. "No," my wife replied. "She's letting you go." I stood, unable to sit any longer. I spent so long trying to win, to prove I wasn't weak, but maybe strength isn't walking back into the fire. "And maybe it is," she said quietly. We stood at opposite ends of the room. Once that distance had felt intimate. Now it just felt final. "I'll be stepping down from everything," I said. "Selling my shares, leaving the name." She didn't protest. "Where will you go?" she asked. "I don't know. Somewhere quiet." Her lips parted. "And me?" I looked at her carefully. "You'll survive. You always do." Then I walked past her, into the hall, into the night. I didn't know if it was the end of us or the beginning of something real. But for the first time in years, I wasn't defined by someone else's war. Only my choice. The next morning I signed the documents. All of them. The shares, the trusts, the board seats, gone, transferred, reassigned. My name removed from every ledger that once made me powerful. Trevor watched in silence. When I finished, he didn't say much. "Where will you go?" he asked. "Somewhere no one spells my last name right," I said. He smirked. "You sure you want to disappear?" "I don't want to disappear," I said. "I want to live." Outside the office, the city moved like it always had, fast, indifferent. But I was slower now, not broken, just unhooked. I sent one last email. To Quentin. Asterisk. "Thank you. I hope you get the quiet you earned." To Olivia. Asterisk. I read the letter. I understand now. Maybe that's enough. To her, my wife, nothing. She didn't need more words. She'd always been fluent in silence. I left Monaco that night. No headlines, no escorts. Just a man boarding a plane with a different passport, a carry-on, and no need to look back. 3 days later, I woke up in a coastal town where no one recognized me. The air smelled like salt and cinnamon. There were no boardrooms, no exes, no cameras, just space. I bought a cheap phone, registered it under a name no one had ever misused. I didn't call anyone, until the 4th day. Then I called Olivia, voicemail. Her voice was calm, professional. If this is about the story, speak clearly. If it's not, leave your truth. I hesitated, then said, I'm not angry, I was. But not anymore. You were right, I needed to save myself. I just wish you'd stayed long enough to see who I became. Click. I left the phone on the beach. Let the tide take it. Back at the small apartment I now called home, I found a package at the door. No sender. Inside, her book, the first copy. Inscribed inside, asterisk for the one story I didn't tell. Because some things aren't meant for print. I didn't cry. I didn't burn it either. I placed it on the shelf. That night, I sat outside under stars not washed in city light. No drink in hand, no glass walls around me, just sky. And for once, I wasn't the man who was betrayed, or the man who betrayed back. I was something new, something unremarkable, something free. 6 weeks passed. The rhythm of life changed. No more meetings, no flashbulbs, just the sound of waves and the weightlessness of not being watched. Locals called me Mason. It wasn't my name, but I wore it better than the one that came before. I taught myself to cook. I fixed an old bike. I answered to no one. And then, on a windless Thursday, a man in a dark coat arrived at the cafe where I worked mornings. He didn't order, just watched me wipe down a table. You've been hard to find, he said. I didn't reply. He placed a small envelope on the counter. From her. He walked out before I could ask which her. I opened it back at the apartment. Inside, a photograph. Me, standing beside Olivia on the yacht deck. A storm in the background. Her head on my shoulder. Someone had taken it without us noticing. On the back, in her handwriting, asterisk, still watching, still proud. I stared at it for a long time. Not because it reopened something, but because it confirmed what I already knew. Some people leave so you can grow. Some people stay so you don't forget who you were, and some hover somewhere in between. That night, I returned to the shoreline. The stars looked the same. I didn't. I lit a fire and threw in the last things I'd brought from that other life. A cufflink, a boarding pass, the key to our old villa. The flame caught fast, brief, bright. The end of an era. A soft voice spoke behind me. I almost didn't come. I turned. It wasn't Olivia. It wasn't my wife. It was Maria, the woman who'd served our family, who had quietly pulled strings, who'd never asked for recognition. She looked older now, but her eyes were sharp. You know why I'm here, she said. I didn't, not entirely. She handed me a drive. This is everything, Noah's last vault, buried beneath layers even Quentin missed. Why now? Because you're ready to see it. I took the drive. It was heavier than it should have been. What's in it? I asked. She looked at me, her expression unreadable. Your future, or your final war. She left before I could decide which one I wanted. I stared at the fire, and held the last key to a kingdom I once ruled. Maybe I'd open it. Maybe I'd let it burn. But this time, the choice would be mine. No one else's.